Welcome to Ridgecrest Talk. I'm Tonia Pyle, your host, with our guests today, Brenda and Brian Orr, Lieutenant Brenda and Brian Orr from the Salvation Army. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So I've been looking forward to getting to know both of you a little bit more. You're new here with the Ridgecrest Salvation Army, relatively new, and you transitioned, I guess you said, in the last 6 months? Correct. Or you've been working on that transition over a longer period of time?
Yes.
And so now I know both of you go by lieutenant, and Charles and Donna went by envoy. What's the difference between that designation?
Go ahead. Okay. So what it is, there's not a lot of difference in the work that they do. One thing that is different is Brian and I went to a seminary of sorts. It's called the Salvation Army College for Officer Training.
Okay.
And that was a 2-year program. It was an intensive 2-year program, and that was located at Rancho Palo Verde in Southern California. And so the difference might...
Long suffering there in Rancho Palos Verdes.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
It was beautiful. Now the Griffins, although they didn't do the 2 years of training, they did all the work here in Ridgecrest as Salvation Army officers would do if they had gone to training.
Okay.
So that would be the difference.
That's where you two met, I think you told me.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
That's a neat little story. And so, now what led the two of you into the Salvation Army?
Well, about 3.5 years ago, I lived in Tucson, Arizona, and I was at a place in my life where things weren't going well. I was kind of at a rock bottom place in my life, and I saw a Salvation Army church, and there was a big sign on front that said, "Welcome, Church on Sunday." So I went there, and there were people there dressed like us, but they were very warm and very inviting, and I felt like I fit in there. And so I started going there, and then I became a soldier, which is a member of the church. And I did a lot of volunteering and stuff there, and then I felt my calling from God to give back what I could by actually becoming a Salvation Army officer, so that I could, for the rest of my life, I could commit myself to giving to others and helping others as an offering to God for what He had done for me. Yes.
Wonderful. How about you?
So in 2004, I was at a point in my life where substance abuse had taken over, and I had nowhere to go. I burned pretty much all my bridges, and the Lord led me to the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center. And
where was this?
This is in Portland, Oregon, my hometown.
Okay.
And I found men just like me that needed other ways to go, that had been on dead-end roads for years. The Salvation Army gave me a job, gave me a bed, gave me some clothes, but the most important thing they gave me was hope for my hopeless situation. I was at a place where I wouldn't want anyone to be. After that 6-month treatment program, I got involved in the church, and they asked me to start helping with the kids and other programs. So it pretty much resuscitated my life and got me to a point where I was a member of a church. I had lots of responsibilities. I started paying back, like Brenda's talking about, through service work in the recovery community with Salvation Army.
And so then the two of you ended up in Arizona at the same school or Salvation?
The school's down near Torrance, California.
Oh, Torrance.
In Southern California.
So she was a year ahead of me, and so I came in, and after my Christmas, the first year, I started praying to God for a wife. And soon after that, we started dating.
But if I hadn't asked him out for coffee, he probably wouldn't have asked me.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I initiated it. So the adult rehabilitation program that he's talking about is through the Salvation Army. And the Salvation Army has these ARCs, as we call them, all over America. And many, many men and women get clean and sober in the ARC because it's such a good program, and it's also faith-based. So a lot of men and women also find Jesus through the Salvation Army program.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so one thing I love about the Salvation Army is their, do you call it the slogan or motto? Share that with us.
I would love to. It's heart to God, hand to man. And it's such a few words, but it says so much. It's powerful because that is how we serve God, is through helping others. And that's what the Salvation Army is. We are first and foremost a Christian church, but the way that we serve God is through the social services and the ARC programs and the homeless shelters.
What's ARC?
ARC is Adult Rehabilitation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And that's how we serve God, is by helping people. So our heart is to God, but our hand is to man, because you can't take a hungry man or a woman that doesn't have a home or someone that's addicted to alcohol or drugs. You can't just go up them and preach the gospel to them. You have to help take care of their basic needs, and then we're able to share the love of God with them.
Okay. Now, let's see. I think you brought something here. Is there something there you could share with us in a couple minutes before we go to our break?
Sure, it's our mission statement.
Okay.
And it says the Salvation Army is an international movement, and it is an evangelical part of the Universal Christian Church. Its message is based on the Bible. Its ministry is motivated by the love of God. And its mission is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and to meet human needs in His name without discrimination. So what that means is that we are part of a universal Christian church that believes that the only way to heaven is through the blood of Jesus Christ and claiming Him as your personal Savior. That there's no one event that gets you to heaven. It's a personal relationship with Jesus that you have. That you admit you're a sinner, that you believe He hung and died on the cross and was buried for 3 days, and He rose again. And you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord. And that's what we believe gets you to heaven. And once you have that in your heart, you want to reach out to other people. It doesn't matter what their religion is. It doesn't matter their race, their background, their sexual preference. We just want to give them the basic needs that every human being should have. You see, back in 1865, William Booth had this thing called the cab horse charter. And in England, the horses that pulled the cabs, when they fell down, they would rush to help them up, right? And they had all the food they needed, they had all the shelter they needed, but a man falls down and they just don't do anything.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back after this brief moment.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk with our guests, Lieutenants Brenda and Brian Orr from the Salvation Army. We're learning a little bit more about you, and you just you mentioned that, of course, you're a church, and a lot of people don't know that Salvation Army is a church.
Yes.
And so aside from the church, which is maybe not as well known as some of your other programs that you offer to people, what other programs do you have at the Salvation Army here in Ridgecrest?
So we have social service programs
where
people can come and get emergency food baskets. They can also come and get assistance with their power bills. There's other avenues that we can assist them with. And let's say someone's house burns down. We are able to provide them furniture, hygiene supplies, and clothing to get back on their feet. Of course, it's not what they lost, but it's better than nothing.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times we think of the Salvation Army for somebody else, and you never think that you're going to be in that kind of need.
That's right.
And it can happen to anybody at any time.
Right.
And so, you know, it can happen unexpectedly.
Yes, and already the short time that we've been in charge, we've had three, maybe four phone calls, a few of them in the middle of the night, that someone's house just burned and they need a place to sleep right then. So we can also offer emergency
Who
shelter.
calls you at that time?
Usually the fire department or the fire
Okay.
chief.
Oh,
They
good.
call us and we're able to, you know, go to the scene and get them a room for the night so they have somewhere to go immediately. And then they can come to the Salvation Army the next day and get other, like he said, physical
Whatever
needs.
they need.
And sometimes that's also the phone number to the Red Cross, because the Red Cross can help them with more permanent shelter until they work out what they're going to do.
Oh, okay.
So that's something we do. Also, we have a lot of people that come in, they need diapers or formula, and we're blessed by the community because we get these things donated quite frequently. So we're almost always able to help with the things that people need when they come in. Yeah, almost always.
And you've got a thrift shop here.
Yes.
And so how's that going? It looks like a lot of fun.
Well, it's a lot of work too. It is an excellent way to provide clothing and furniture for people. It's also a good place to provide. I think we have 11 people employed there, and so it's a great opportunity to meet people. It's a great opportunity to get people into our church. We've gotten a fair amount of kids into our kids programs from there.
How many children do you have in your kids program approximately? You said a fair amount.
Yeah, it's like 25 to the most we've had is in the upper 30s.
Like 38 one night. But also with the thrift store, it's doing really well, and that revenue that comes in from the thrift store, it helps us to keep our programs running, you know. So it's a blessing, and the amount of donations we get from the community to the thrift store is it's amazing. We always have lots of stuff coming in every day. And,
Wonderful.
And so when we sell it, it's to, one, pay the bills, pay the employees, and also to keep the Salvation Army thriving in Ridgecrest.
Is that your main source of income, the thrift store?
It's a big source of our income, and then also the holiday kettles.
The kettles.
And donations that come in
And then the
during
church
holidays.
ties and things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Because
it.
I've seen your kettle bell ringers out in force. So they're out there now.
Yes.
That's great. And so what else? You've got the food pantry.
And then social services, which, like, there's a lot in social service. Like
Okay.
he said, the things he listed. And then there's our church. And then, are you asking me about the programs?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have our, we have midweek Bible studies. We have, what's really awesome is our children's programs, which have really, God has brought them in. When him and I first started taking over, we started praying for kids. Bring them in, and boy, did he bring them in.
So now we're praying for leaders to come help us.
More leaders.
Okay.
More leaders.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah,
great.
it's going good. We have a wonderful youth assistant that helps us. We
Okay.
have some volunteers that help us with the youth programs. By the way, our volunteer base at the Salvation Army is amazing. We have so many faithful volunteers that come in and keep that place going. Us two, on ourselves, we could not do it. We could not provide and do all the things that our faithful volunteers do.
At the thrift shop, are they volunteers or are they paid? Or
The thrift store is employees, but we do
Okay.
have volunteers
Who-
that do help come in there and sort clothes and hang clothes. But the thrift store, yes, that's based on employees. But the food pantry, the fresh rescue program, most of our youth programs and a lot of our Sunday school leaders are all volunteers.
Okay.
And they do a lot.
You have a youth camp too, right? In the
Yes.
summer? Tell us about that.
It's in Redwood Glen down near Santa Cruz. And so I think we sent 80 kids. How many do we
Really?
send?
Close to it.
There's a bunch of kids that go. There's 2 or 3 camps a year. And then we also have a teen camp, which we have to drive the kids down there because what happens is we're provided a bus. We're
It's
provided
donated.
through Service Extension, provides us a bus for all the kids, because you can imagine a 7 or 8 hour drive, you have to pull over, it's just not feasible with 30 kids.
Right.
So you have to have a great big bus that has a bathroom on board, and they just straight
Okay.
head where you're going. They don't get off the bus until you get there.
Mm-hmm.
So that works well for us, and the kids really
Are these
enjoy
all
it.
Salvation Army kids or
No.
kids from the community?
All from the community.
Well, no, our kids go too.
Yeah.
Our,
And you're as along with your
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Right. It's open enrollment to the community as well.
Yes. But some of the kids that we have we have got through that program, and we try to think, we try to have, like after all the kids, we're trying to get some of those kids from the community into our church as well.
Right.
We're working on that each summer. We're trying to get those kids to come into our church. And sometimes they do, you know, but we've only been in charge for 1 year, so I have a lot of hope that we can reach out to some of those families as well.
Right, right. Well,
So
I'm sure
another
you will.
youth program we do is Troops. We do Adventure Corps, Girl Guards, and Sunbeams, which is like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Okay.
So we do that during
What's the
week.
name of those two groups again?
Adventure Corps is for the boys, and Sunbeams and Girl Guards for the girls.
Oh, very interesting. Well, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll
Okay.
be right back and talk
Okay.
more about the Salvation Army.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Ridgecrest Talk with our guests, Lieutenants Brenda and Brian Orr from the Salvation Army. And of course, we're leading up to Christmas here. And I know you've always got a lot going with Christmas programs. What tell us about your Christmas programs?
Okay, and yes, you're right. It's very busy for the Salvation Army during the Christmas season, but him and I, we love it. We do enjoy it. This year, we have a new program. It's called the Salvation Army Teen Gift Program, and that's providing gifts for the kids ages 13 to 18. We also do the intake for the Toys for Tots, which is a wonderful program that the Marine Corps sponsors that program.
So you partner together with
Kind of. Together with both of us, we're able to get gifts for kids all the way to 18 years old.
Okay.
And that's really what we noticed there was a need for. So that's a wonderful program, and we are taking donations every day up until...
Of gifts or
Yes.
monetary, or both?
Both. We've
Yes.
received both, and I do have to say it's going well. People have been so generous, and we really appreciate it. But we do need some more teen gifts
Okay.
coming in, so they're being donated right to the Salvation Army. You can bring them, drop them off, or we'll even come pick them up if
Well,
necessary.
that's fun. Now, do you, I think in the past, people are expected to apply or register?
Yes.
How does that work? I mean, certainly you don't expect teens to come in and register.
Oh, no,
How
no.
do-
Their
how does-
parents have to come into the Salvation Army, and we have two different times during the few months before Christmas that we're open for like 2 weeks just for that purpose in the afternoons, for people to come up and sign for not only the holiday food baskets, but also for Toys for Tots
Okay.
and the teen gift program.
Okay. Because if they don't sign up,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
'Cause how
need
would you
to-
know about it?
That's right. They need to sign up, and so that we can input them into our system. So yes, they definitely do have to sign up, and that's not usually a problem. Most people do.
Can someone register someone who they might know, or for someone else, or does it have to be that party?
Well, we prefer that, but there's so many unique situations and circumstances, and we take all that into consideration when that sort of thing happens. So we do try to accommodate as much as we can. Yes.
And so, and Brian, you lead service then on Sunday, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We both
Okay.
preach. We
Oh,
take
okay.
turns. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I just
that's-
kind of threw that in. That was sort of
Yeah.
an out from left field there,
Oh,
but it
that's
just
okay.
occurred to me that, okay, so
Yeah.
you both do. Either one of you the song leader, or
Well,
who's the song leader in the group here?
we share in that too, and we have a
okay.
very experienced congregation member that also leads our worship for us, and they play
Oh, okay.
piano. And
Who's that?
Lou and Sharon Ballinger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're awesome. We have people in the congregation that share in the ministry. So it's not just the
course.
Brian and Brenda show.
Right.
It's everybody. We try to include everybody.
From the body.
Sure.
Because when they have something to do, they feel they get more engaged.
Yeah,
And that's
part of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we want.
Yeah, very good. So, so what else? You've got, of course, we mentioned the bell ringers
Sure,
out
we got
there.
the kettles out there, and it's going fairly well. We have volunteers and paid employees, and I just want everybody to know every dollar stays right here in Ridgecrest. All the money we keep for
right.
the programs in the church, whether it's social service or children's programs, it all stays
I saw
here.
you had a big coat, winter coat. People need winter coats at this
Sure.
point. It's
Yeah.
been cold here. So,
Yeah, we've gotten rid of a lot of coats so far. There's been a lot of donations, and they're still coming in. So we're able to just.
so that program is ongoing.
It's ongoing. I'm not sure when it ends. People bring all year long, but
Yes.
yeah, we're doing well with that. People are still bringing in. This Inyo Kern grade school are bringing in a huge donation of coats, hoodies, scarves, hats, and gloves, and it's just
From the students? Or?
From
Oh,
the
how
students.
fun.
We've received a lot of donations from the schools. They have food drives and coat drives and stuff, and they bring their stuff in, and it's really awesome. The kids like to be a part of that.
The Lions Club has donated coats. The Rotary Club and iRock Radio has donated jackets.
I saw
And
John
so-
and Margie.
Yeah, it's
in
excellent. So when the coat drive is over is when we run out of coats.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so we also have another really exciting event that we're doing this Saturday, or this Friday.
Okay.
It's going to be done right at the Salvation Army parking lot. We're going to have another Fill the Truck event. And we're also going to have hot dogs, hot chocolate. We're going to have kids from our youth programs out there singing songs. And what we want is people to donate a gift to fill the truck. And those gifts obviously go to the Teen Gift Program and Toys for Tots and for families that come in and missed the time when they were supposed to sign up for contacts. And so we are expecting, we're very hopeful about this event. So that's this Friday.
What time?
It's from 12 to 3.
Okay.
And it's right there at the Salvation
And
Army.
then you're also selling the hot dogs and the, what else?
We're
The
not
hot
actually
chocolate?
selling hot
Okay.
dogs. We're going to be serving
okay.
hot dogs and hot chocolate. And people are going to be coming throughout the day to be able to donate gifts to the truck.
Now, I saw a group at the kettle, what were they playing? I think the flute, and who was this group? They sounded good.
It depends. I have a fair amount of people that want to come and perform, and we welcome them.
Yep.
Do you have a regular Salvation Army band?
We do not.
Okay. Okay.
We have people from other churches and that want to come. Crossroad Children are going to sing from 2 to 3 at Stater Brothers on Saturday. They have a little children's choir. It's amazing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's wonderful.
How fun. Well, I know people always enjoy that. What haven't I asked in about a minute that you would like to share with listeners today?
Well, I just want to share that we couldn't do what we're doing without the community and the volunteers. And so we just really want everyone to know in this community that we really appreciate all that you do. And they really do a lot. So we just want to say thank you. Thank you to the community. Thank you to our volunteers.
And what number should people call if they would like to volunteer for the Salvation Army?
They can call the office number, which is...
I would have to look.
Okay,
Yes.
they can find it online.
It is, yes.
It's
And,
easy to Google.
when we're always available, Brian and
Okay.
myself are there from 9 to 5 every day,
Okay.
if not longer.
If
so.
not longer. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for
Thank
coming
you.
and joining us today on Ridgecrest Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.